Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello, welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. This is our off-air podcast that we do 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But this will be the last podcast until next Wednesday.
That is true. We're going a whole week.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's partially my fault, but
That's Holly's fault.
Holly's fault.
And then it's dead white men's fault because President's Day is on Monday.
There's one black president.
But he's not dead.
Oh, are we only celebrating the dead ones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually,
I think we only celebrate Washington, Lincoln, and some other one.
Really?
Yeah.
Selective.
Yes.
Huh.
You know, like the big 3. I don't know.
Big 3.
Are there big 3?
Okay. The holiday, which is celebrated annually on the third Monday of February, commemorates the births of 2 great United States presidents, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
It was
All
the big
right.
2, not the big 3.
So 2 dead white men.
2 dead white men that did a lot for this country.
That's who we're celebrating on. This is what I love. Like I literally, but then Abe and I were chatting, and like I don't know how well this would go. I love history so much. I want to go back for like a few minutes just to see like what did it look like, what did it smell like what because when you think about history, it's just like this figment of our imaginations.
You like, do you not picture like they have portraits of what like the founding fathers looked like signing?
Right.
And I just picture it's like a cartoon like that. Like
Right.
I can't picture it in real life.
Like it's like these were real people with like blood that like woke up, and like most days were just normal days that they were just trying to get by.
Right. And also now I'm also kind of confused because I've seen Hamilton so many times on Disney Plus that I also feel like they were all black people. And that is very incorrect.
Well,
They were not wearing deodorant either.
No, they were
didn't
very
have
smelly.
deodorant. And they wore like men wear the high heels and the wigs and
Mhm.
stuff.
Yes, drag.
They were the first drag queens.
Yes, they were,
Yes.
bitch.
But Abe and I were talking about this because we were watching I was watching some historical documentary, and I was like, man, I want to go back. Like, I will be really pissed in death if they create a time machine, and I will have
you
missed
it.
that.
I don't want you to
Yeah.
go back, Miguel.
Well, and that's why Abe was like,
Hold on, like that show that you made us watch, and then it
Right.
got canceled after that
Yeah.
one
Kindred, I
season.
know. Well, Abe was like, there's
But yeah,
a big problem. You're black.
yeah.
Abe
like-
could go back.
Right. He could go
Abe
back.
could go back.
Maybe. Boy, actually.
But now
I
it's
don't
like,
even know if I could go back because
Right, you're a
somebody would try to shove me into a house with some man and not let me
Mhm.
go. So Abe could go.
Kelvin, you could pass
I'd
kind
be
of.
pass.
deported, girl.
No, you could pass. You could pass. But you'd have to really like make sure to walk the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That Leah, you can't be doing this gay shit.
Give me that log.
None of
So I
that
can
gay
chop it.
shit. No, it would be so cool to see though. I mean,
Right.
I feel that way weirdly, and I want to derail the conversation if we're still going with this, but I weirdly, and I've always said this since college, would love just like a little afternoon if I could get some time with Jesus, the actual Jesus.
Not white Jesus.
Not white Jesus.
Right.
I'm talking about actual Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
Like I want to, while he's out here on doing one of his he didn't do sermons, but he did like, whatever they called them. He was just kind of telling people like the hippie he was. And I want to like go and sit with, I will put the little scarves on and everything and dress up like a lady of the time back then. But I want to be like, can I just because he's the Lord, right?
Right.
So I'd be like, I'm here from the future. You got that whole thing. Can you what did you mean? You spoke in a lot of metaphors. Can you let's be plain real quick? Because we're having some issues and I just want to pick your brain.
He'll say, silence.
No, he wouldn't. He'd be like, yes,
No, not the
woman,
time.
not a Jesus. No, Jesus was all about the ladies. He'd be like, yes, woman, even though all these men want to
Oh.
shut you up, I want to hear what you have to say. And I would be like, I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear it out your mouth.
He'll go, it won't get better.
Yeah,
it
he
only
will.
gets worse from here.
I know, but I just want to know what he said. I
Donald
wanna
Trump
know
was the beginning of the end.
What if he tries to
don't-
hit on you?
I'd be like, hi, Jesus.
Okay, we were getting real close to cancelable
Yeah, sorry.
territory.
We're saying what ifs. These are all what if stories. We're
These
not
are all
traveling in
just
time.
Right.
We're talking about time travel anyway.
Right.
But like, I would, and if I'm coming across as sacrilegious, I don't mean to be. I truly would love to pick Jesus's brain.
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear from his literal mouth, not what, Paul and all of them.
Joseph.
Who was that? Oh my God, Peter. I don't want Peter's version of what Jesus said. I want to hear from Jesus. That would be my wish.
I would love to be in the room when they're
where it happened, the room where it happened. Sorry.
Where they're like cranking out our government. Because like I listen to so many political.
So actually for real, the room where it happened.
Like seriously, because like there's so many. I mean, they could in their wildest dreams not imagine that those 13 colonies would turn into a nation of over 300 million people from coast to coast. And so knowing that we still are living by these rules that these white men created in the 1700s, like
when slavery was legit.
Like I would just be so curious, like how did they think of these safeguards and the Bill of Rights and like to me, I find their minds and those discussions so fascinating about like, because when I listen to these political podcasts, they're like, well, the founders intended for this to happen and the founders put these safeguards in place. What were those conversations that led for them to put those safeguards in place and to set it up? Like we know, from like where they came from in England and a monarchy and all that stuff. But like
I was gonna say they were used to tyranny, and that. And so they had firsthand experience of what they didn't want.
Right. And so, but I just want to be, because like we said, in our minds, we think of them being like, well, we gather here today. Whereas like George Washington was like, that old bitch over there in England, like what were the actual
language
in the conversations, and were they like, oh, here comes Ben Franklin walking in like he fucking knew everything.
I think
his
they
goddamn
did.
kite and goddamn tea. Fuck him. Like,
but they were like, but I was glad for his glasses though, because I can't see shit. Like look how much stuff they were inventing, but also Sam Adams was like, I got beers for everyone because he did.
Right.
So, like
I sure did.
He sure enough did. Getting people drunk at the sun. They were probably drunk.
How did they discover milk?
Well, no, I think that goes back a little further.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, it's not what you think, because every titty gets some milk in it. So.
Save that. We need to save that just for the podcast. Like
we do.
If we ever do get a sponsor for this podcast, we can that'll be the transition, like coming out of it, the commercials.
No, it's not.
So anyway, President's Day.
I would love it. Yeah. So yes.
So we won't be here on Monday because of
all that to say.
He's sleeping.
We ain't gonna be here.
We won't be here. All right.
Hopefully, maybe you have it off as well.
Absolutely.
Don't do that, because sometimes I don't know it's the end of the world or
sorry.
I know. What is this? Like, you don't know what times we're living in.
So actually, let me Google what is just on TV right now.
Meteor heading toward
girl. I'd be like, well, we're done. Girl, bye. Like,
go home. I'm gonna
where
pick
can
up
we find you on social?
Like, no, I don't even care at that point. Like, girl, I'm about to go eat all the hamburgers. I'm gonna go hug my husband, see my mama. Like, bye. So apparently, Pete Davidson.
No,
trans.
Die?
No. He's done a photo shoot because he had all of his tattoos removed.
Oh, cool.
That's right. Yeah, he did.
But he just did this photo shoot that they just popped it on TV, and I was like, "Is that Pete?"
I'm just glad he didn't die. Hold on now.
Oh.
Okay, Pete.
Right.
He been working out.
He has been. Yeah, he's been eating. He's been eating
good. Like what? That's Pete Davidson?
This is a good PR move to always go away for a little bit. Everybody thinks you're a whore. You date everybody, come back, work out, look good.
Yep.
Wow.
Good on him.
So yeah, oops, sorry. Oh, that's real small. Pete Davidson looks unrecognizable without any tattoos in new photos.
And
so if you just
painful
Google it, you'll see it.
I know too.
Oh, has been slowly removing
Yes,
his
I read about this way back then because I remember this is when we used to incorporate more celebrity stuff in our trending reports. So goes all the way back to like the hot days, but I read that he was starting the process because he was just like, I'm over this. I'm over adding new things all the time. So that has been a long time, and that's painful.
I bet.
lasering all
Burning
that
that
shit off.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically they're saying that he had to basically burn off his skin and then not be in the sun for 6 to 8 weeks and had to do it like 12 different times to get all the tattoos.
Whew.
Good Lord. So anyway, Google Pete Davidson today. There's a little treat for you.
Wow. Oh, this is what he like actually looks. This isn't makeup.
Yeah, no, that's his new look without tattoos.
That's his new skin because he lasered it all off.
Oof. That's why he looks so supple. All right, couple things before I get into what we're going to talk about today.
10 minutes in already.
10 minutes in. So I'm only going to mention it once on the podcast, and then I'm going to mention it once on the air tomorrow.
Okay.
I've just been notified that the Best of Charlotte by Charlotte Magazine, they do different categories through different time periods over the course of several months, and it's come to media.
It's time.
And so Charlotte Magazine, if you just Google that, if you'd like to vote for us as best radio show and I think best podcast in Charlotte, Miguel and Holly Uncensored and the Miguel and Holly Show, feel free at your leisure. And also we want to give a shout out to Dre from @DailyDreCLT for like best influencer content creator. So there we go. And then also if you'd like to tag when you listen to the podcast, it's always so interesting to see how you listen and where you listen. We'd love to see that. So you can always tag @Miguel and Holly on that as well. All right. So some of the prep that I get for the show, I'll bring to the podcast because it requires a little bit more time than we have on the actual show. So one of our friends who they do this on their actual show because they put relationships to the test with real life scenarios that make you question, is this a deal breaker or can you live with it? So each round, I'm going to throw out a situation, and maybe it's about money, trust, family, jealousy, or just weird habits. And you decide, are you all in or is this a deal breaker?
Okay.
All right. I haven't vetted these. We'll just come to these over time because they have different categories. So I'm just going to skip around. Cool. So for the first one, it's money and financial health.
Okay.
Would you be all in or out if the person, and let's use our people, the people that we're with, Oscar, your fiance, my husband, they make significantly more money than you, but expect you to split everything 50-50, even though they know you struggle financially. Would you be in or would you be out? If your person
I've actually
came to you.
seen this on like mom or women like groups that I'm in on Facebook. This is not an uncommon scenario. All right. So have we already been together or we're just getting together with this person?
I'd say
this in our lives now.
This is let's go back in time when you two were first moving in together for all the situations. And they make a lot more than you. And they're like, hey, we got this new apartment. I want to split it 50-50, even though I make an extra $80,000 more than you.
Jesus. Okay.
Are you in or are you out? I'm out.
I think I'm out too.
I think I'm also out because because I wouldn't make them do that.
Right.
And I wouldn't appreciate being made to do that if it's not fair. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, I think because then I'm going to be resentful.
Because I feel like when you are at the beginning of a relationship and if there is that sort of power dynamic, because like when Abe and I first got together or after the first 6 months, he quit his full-time job to finally open up his painting business. So there was that 6 or 7 months where, they were trying to get it off the ground. So he didn't have a lot of cash. But also at the same time is when I was like, hey, I go on this cruise every summer with my friends. And he was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to miss it. I don't have the money. I'm building my business up. And I was like, well, I'll pay for you. And he was like, no, you won't. I'm not going. I'm like, well, no, if we keep saying that this relationship is different and that, we want to be together for a long time, there'll be times that you'll pay for stuff that I can't afford. So to me, if you can't see past that, then there's going to be a lot of other problems in the future.
I mean, I'm in that situation right now. Oscar definitely makes more money than me. And, but I don't feel like, I'm not able to split things evenly with him. It's not $80K more. but it is significantly more. But he does take on more bills than me. Like he pays the electricity. If we go out to eat, he pays. Anything extra that we need for the pets, majority of the time he pays for it. So I don't know mathematically if it does balance out, but I do know that he helps drastically where I don't feel like everything is split 50-50.
Right.
So yeah, you have to be willing to
There's got to be some kind
help
of like
in other ways.
Yeah, and it has to make sense.
Right.
That doesn't like I'm a big one for like help me understand how this is logical. Like
Mm.
that doesn't make sense.
Right.
So right.
They always make you the butt of the joke when you're around friends or family. Are you all in or are you out?
Caveat.
Mhm.
If this has happened, if it's happening, I would bring it up.
Mm.
I would address it. And if it still keeps happening, I'm out.
Correct. Correct. You got to address it.
Right. Because one time, this was a long time ago, we were out somewhere and everybody had been drinking a lot. And my fiance made some joke that was like, not like terrible, but it was like at my expense a little bit.
Mhm.
And like, I kind of like laughed it off. And then the next day when we were not drunk, I was like, I really didn't appreciate that. Like
Mhm.
we need to be on a team.
Right.
You can't like, I'm like, I'm not talking about little things. I'm talking about like not if we're gently ribbing each other. I'm like,
Right.
if you make me feel bad about something, like that's not cool. And
Right.
so he was like, immediately, he's like, I didn't think about it like that. And
Mhm.
he's never done it again, ever. So it's like, if you bring it up to someone and then they change, sure. But if you bring it up to someone and they keep doing that and you're uncomfortable, again, I don't see how how do you sustain that?
Right. Yeah, I mean, my relationship is built on jokey jokes to each other, and we read each other's house down boots. But we don't try to go very far, or we try to hurt each other, or anything like that. I think we also have like facial cues sometimes where I'm like, "Bitch," but it really doesn't go that far. I also don't try to read Oscar because I'm really mean, so I don't even try to go back and forth. He gets me really good, but his jokes are good, and they make everyone laugh, and like they never hurt me.
Right.
But I also like to be bullied, so I don't know.
Save that.
You have a kink.
A little bit. Actually, a little bit.
Yeah, no, the way that I would run for the fucking hills if someone tried to do that, like that's one of my you know how, Holly, you don't like to be wrong? I don't like to look like a fool in front of people. Like that is one of my, because listen, I'll always be the first person to be self-deprecating or to point out a flaw of myself and to be the butt of the joke. I'll be the first person to do that. You never have to do that. So if you go out of your way to make me feel bad in front of people, I'm immediately out. Like Holly, and I did this with Abe when we first got together. And I told the story before how at the time, it was the first few months we were together, there was a serial killer in Tampa.
Oh my God, in Seminole Heights.
In Seminole Heights. And I was like freaked out because I had just moved into my townhouse, which was 3 stories. I didn't have an alarm system yet. And I was still kind of getting used to living in a big space like that. And I was really nervous, even though this was like not even close to where I lived at the time.
It wasn't even in the same county.
But still, just the fact that we had to talk about it on the show all the time. And so it was in my thoughts.
Right.
And so Abe was like, well, how about I'll put up some lights? And so he changed out my lights in the front and the back and around the house and the garage, just so at least when people come, the lights would come on. And I don't remember what he said, but he made me, with that joke, feel stupid about feeling fear like that. And I remember being like, well, I'm not going to talk to you for 2 days.
Why do I remember this all of a sudden?
Well, because this is the moment that I always say that, like, this is when I was like, wait, this is what I've done in every relationship. They do something that makes me mad. I don't say anything. I don't talk to them for 2 days. And then I never address it. And then it just builds.
Yes.
And then that was the first time I said, no, I'm going to tell you that you hurt my feelings and that I don't appreciate that. And I don't like you making me feel small for a legitimate fear that I have. And I told him that. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I was just kidding. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I would just thought we were joking.
People got to know.
Right. And he's never made a joke like that again.
Right.
All right. And you watching can answer too. Are you all in or all out if your person, they don't like you hanging out with certain friends because they think they're a bad influence? Are you all in or are you out?
They don't like you hanging out with certain friends.
Right. So let's say you have
Right.
that party friend that you have and you're just new to your relationship and you're probably at like 6 to 8 months in and your friend is like, or your person is like, man, I feel like whenever you hang out with fill in the blank, it's messy. You're drunk. You spend too much money. They put you down, but you're still friends because you've been friends for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like that. Are you all in or are you out with this person?
I don't know. This is kind of my situation.
Oh.
Oscar definitely has strong opinions about certain people that I go out with. Specifically, my childhood best friend. I'm not friends with her anymore. And granted, he was completely right about her, but he never really made me feel like I couldn't hang out with her. He was always like, y'all have fun, do what you need to do, but I don't agree with her. I don't like her. I don't like being around her. Please do not invite me, like, if she's going to be there kind of thing. And even then, he would still come and hang out and stuff like that. But yeah. And he has made comments about certain friends that I've made here in Charlotte because they're a little bit too partiers and
Mhm.
they are a little chaotic. But he's never made me feel like I can't hang out with them. He very much, there's free will in that. He's like, I don't have to control you at all and what you do. So I guess
Right.
maybe I don't relate to the question. Sorry.
I guess I'd be all in because you can feel how you feel. Like
Right.
the question wasn't like, do they forbid you from hanging out with this
Right.
person?
Mhm.
Like yeah. I mean, you might not like these people or you might not like one of these people. But I'm s- it depends on the friend too. Like, did I just meet this friend? Like, I think that, your person is allowed to have an opinion.
Right.
They shouldn't be telling you, "Oh, you can never see this person,"
Mm.
because I don't like being told I can't do something.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I would be like, "Okay, I appreciate that you feel like that." Or maybe like, let's set up some boundaries so maybe you feel better if I'm out or whatever. Something, but I don't think that's a tap out unless they're very controlling and don't allow you to go out with someone. I would not
Right.
allow someone to not allow me to do something.
Yeah, that would
Mhm.
absolutely be out. Like sort of similar to you, Kelvin. There are a few friends that Abe doesn't really care for
Mhm.
that I have.
Name him.
You name yours first, bitch.
I mean, I really could. No,
No, I absolutely would not do that. Well, because that's not fair to anybody to be brought into that.
no, for sure.
But no, I have always said I hear you and I respect what you are saying, but you see one side of this friend uh that's only one part of who they are.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
And so this person has been there or helped me or fill in the blank throughout, however long. So I see what you're saying, but I don't agree with you, but that's still going to be my friend.
Mhm.
And so he goes, I wasn't saying that you shouldn't have him. And I'm like, yeah, I appreciate you
You're
saying that.
allowed to have an opinion.
Absolutely.
I don't like everybody that, my fiance has as in a friend circle or whatever. Like he's got several friends all over and not all of them are my favorite, but
Right.
I'm not like, don't hang out with that person
Right.
because that's not my job. I'm not a parent to
Right.
him.
That's your concern, but that is not my concern.
Right.
Right.
Drag race quote.
There you go.
All right. This one is they want to name your future child after their favorite celebrity or fictional character. Are you all in or out?
I'm
So,
all in
mm,
because I really wanted to name Maya Daenerys. And I mean, Chris didn't divorce me over that, but we did not name Maya Daenerys.
Right.
So probably best.
Yeah.
But it's got again, that's gotta be a decision between the two of you. Like,
I'd be all in, but it can't be like Pikachu or something.
Right. But like,
Right.
what if this person, so for like me, I always said if I ever had kids, I always wanted boys to either be Zach or Sebastian because I
Okay.
love those names. But like, let's just say that like Abe had a bully that was named Zach. And I'm like, I have been thinking about this my entire
Mhm.
life. And he's like, well, this has been part of my mental health my entire life.
Right.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there if you're both like stuck in that?
Sebastian. then.
You have to pick yes. You have to pick a neutral next name.
Yeah.
Like,
But like you
yeah.
want that person to be their name and like nobody's backing down.
Okay, give it a middle name. You have to find a compromise somewhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
unless you decide that that's the deal breaker. This seems like a really silly deal breaker to me.
Right.
Like, there are ways to work around all of this.
That would be an interesting question. Has anyone broken up because you couldn't come together on the name of your child?
No, I feel like that is y'all weren't
means-
supposed to be together.
Correct. There was already cracking before this baby.
There were cracks because in any successful partnership, you learn the art of compromise. And
Right.
that is a very easy thing to compromise on. Goodness.
Right. Yeah. As somebody who names their pets and plants drag queen names, I feel like I'd be all in for this too. I'm okay with it. If Oscar's obsessed with Avatar, the cartoon. So if he wanted to name our kid Aang, totally fine with that. Zuko.
Yeah.
Whoever.
All right. I found a Reddit from 6 years ago that just the title says divorce on table because husband and I can't agree on baby's name.
Oh.
I don't want to read the whole thing, but someone posted about it. That's
Then
so
there
interesting.
are deeper things going on in that relationship, I feel like.
All right. So basically we all would be in.
Yeah.
We would just figure
Yeah.
out a compromise.
Yeah.
Here is the next one. They refuse to get a pet even though you love animals.
Oh, Miguel.
All in or out.
Well, we know how Abe answers this question.
Yes, he does.
Abe was all in, and he continues to be, even though I feel so bad sometimes.
You don't feel that bad.
No, you don't feel bad at all.
I
You got your
do.
way.
You do not feel
No,
bad.
I do. I absolutely. When he had to give his dog away, and then especially after Clifford passed away, and I was like, I felt bad. I'm like, you didn't get to be with him the last, 4 years of his life because of me.
Yeah.
And so no, like I didn't. There literally never was like I win because I saw how much he loved that dog, and when we drove Clifford to Buffalo for him to give his dog to his parents, like I was sad, and I was like, I feel like a shitty person that like I can't just get over it. But that's just I couldn't.
Yeah.
Because of also that was a Chihuahua who was very protective over Abe, and even if I were an animal person, that would have been difficult because he did not want anybody around Abe.
Right.
Yeah, that is
Ugh.
tough. That is tough. I think that's an all in. I don't think I wouldn't be upset. It's not really applicable to me either. Like Kelvin said, one of the other ones weren't like, because I'm not like that big of an animal lover.
Right.
I would be the opposite one. Like I would be a refusal pet one. But clearly I'm not because we got Teddy. But I really love Teddy. He's just such a goofball, and he's so much more cuddly than Nala was. No offense to Nala, R.I.P. girl. But this big old doofus thinks he's a lap dog, and he'll come up and like he got a big ass head, and he'll put it on you. Put it on you, and it's just like, this is my baby.
So cute.
Yeah.
I think it's all perspective of where you're at in life, right? I can't stand my pets. Jimbo, I had to take Jimbo to daycare yesterday because I needed time away, and it was raining too. So I don't like
That's
to.
right, and
I don't
they
wanna
need it
entertain him.
sometimes. They need
Yes.
it sometimes. We're like, you know what? Teddy's due for daycare.
Yes.
What time? Yeah, it's been a minute.
Oh, that's cool. So you can just drop off. Like if you're having a day, you can just be like, bye, bitch.
Bye, bitch. Pick you up
Absolutely.
at 7.
Oh, that's really
Deuces.
cool.
Mhm.
So I did that yesterday.
How much did that cost?
It's pretty expensive.
Oh, is
I
it?
would
Is
probably
it?
say maybe. The thing is that we buy it in packs. So I think we get
Mm.
like maybe 10 visits, and then each visit comes out to maybe like $20 or $22
I was gonna say the
a
visit.
visit.
I think
maybe?
ours is $35 a day.
Yeah, and we do half days, so I'm able to split it because I
Mm.
can't take him at like 8 a.m. You know,
Right,
But
right.
it cuts off at 1, and then I can pick him up at 7.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
Yeah,
it's-
there's half days, and
Yeah.
sometimes we'll send Teddy for the whole. Right, he's even because it's also a dog. It's like a doggy daycare for overnights too.
Mhm.
And he
Yeah.
loves it. God, he loves it. And so, we've kept him there overnight too with vacations and stuff. And and I feel bad because I'm like, does he think that we're not coming back? But then we do
Right.
come back, and He's like, hey, mom and dad, I'm so excited to see you.
100%. So, so it's perspective. Like I said, like I can't stand my cat. You know how I feel about the cat. And so if I didn't have these pets and Oscar didn't want to have any pets in the future, I'd probably be really pressed about it. But because I have them, I wouldn't give them up, maybe the cat, but I wouldn't give up Jimbo ever. So I think it just depends. When we first moved in, we didn't have any pets. I probably would have been not out all the way, but I would have been very pressed about wanting to get a pet, and he didn't want one. I'd be very annoyed. But look at me now.
Look at you now, annoyed that you have them.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. You're old McDonald, girl. What about this one? They quit their steady job to chase their dream with no backup plan. So let's say you've been living together for 6 months. You've been together for now a year and 6 months. And they're like, hey, I quit my job at the bank so I can be a ballet dancer.
Are we living together?
Yes.
Yes.
You've been living together for 6 months.
6 months.
Are you all in, or do you say, get out of my house?
That's a tough one because I'm gonna try to make it work.
So I did. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
Abe wanted to start his painting business.
Yeah.
So I would support, but I also would put guardrails.
yeah.
I'd say, all right, you got 1 good year
Right.
to make it happen. But if you don't have any income coming
A
in,
year.
I'm out.
With these prices, girl, you need a part-time job. You need to help at least. I can pay more,
Right.
Yeah.
but I can't
Right.
do everything.
I just want to feel like things are a little fair. Like I don't mind being the main breadwinner, but I also want to make sure that, monetarily there is some help somewhere. And if there's not going to be monetary help, like what are you doing to make my life easier if I'm going to be footing the bill?
Spotless
Food in the
house.
Footing the bill.
I need a spotless house. I need my laundry done.
Yeah,
I need my
like-
meals cooked.
I need some stuff.
You need a
Yeah.
maid. Is that what you need?
Well, yes.
Well, something. I mean, someone's
It's
gonna
something. Make my life easier.
Yeah, it's like something has to give somewhere. Like Miguel said, there has got to be some guardrails where, like, what is the time frame that you have to chase your dream? Because you can't
Right.
just chase your dream for the rest of your life, never having found it. Like, what kind of
Right.
person are you? Are you motivated? Are you, things like that. Like, other than that, but like I'm pretty encouraging for people to go do what they want to do. Like, I don't ever want to be like, no, for sure, never, unless it's like a terrible idea. Then I'm going to be like, I have some concerns, but I don't want to be the person that's like, no, never go do a thing. So yeah, go do a thing. We'll figure it out. But where are we making it up?
Right before Oscar's corporate job that he got, he actually quit. So he was working at this store, and he was the general manager of this store. And for some reason, I won't get too into it because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but there was something that one of his assistant managers did that, like, she was supposed to report and she really didn't. She kind of like was a part of it. And because she was a part of it and didn't reprimand this employee who did the thing, Oscar then in turn had to fire her. But this was somebody who, like, was his right hand, a really good person, kind. And in the middle of this whole process, he was interviewing for this corporate job that he has now. They were taking a little while to give him the decision whether he was going to get the job or not. And I remember being at the pool, we were hanging out, all of us, and he was like, they're asking me to fire this manager, and like, I don't believe that I need to do it. And his DM, like his district manager at the time, was on vacation, so there was nobody else that could do it. And he's like, I don't feel good in my soul to do this, and like, I want to quit because I truly feel like I'm going to get this job. And I remember telling him, like, sometimes we have to do hard things. Sometimes we really have to do hard things. I know it's
We have to
really
do-
rough
like,
for you.
we
I know
can
it's gonna
do-
hurt.
We can
but
do hard things. That's what I'm saying. Like, yes,
I was like, she will find a job. This happens. She
Right.
broke the rules.
life
Right.
does happen.
And that motherfucker's stubborn ass, hard-headed ass was like, no, I'm going to quit. And I was like,
Oh.
Not on this radio salary, baby.
Oh.
And then he did it. And then I think the next day, or I think the morning of where he quit, he got the fucking job. It
Mm.
was insane.
Wow.
So proud of him. But I also was, so when Holly's like saying, you know, I encourage anybody to do whatever they want, like I was like, I can't relate. Oh, in that situation, at least.
Right.
So
well, yes. I
that's-
mean, that's true, though. It depends a lot on your circumstances.
Right.
Like, what is my salary? Like, if,
Mhm.
like, let's say, you know, both of you are struggling. And then one person is like, well, I'm tapping out because I'm going to go chase my dream. Can you just make all this happen on one, you know, you can barely pay for stuff yourself. Now we got to
Right.
shoot. It's like, this isn't logical. Again, it goes back to like, does this even make sense? Like,
Right.
can we live?
Right.
Can we live? And so, yes, I mean, there's a lot of different factors.
I feel like for me, because I get to do this job and this was a dream, and there were a lot of sacrifices that had to be made to make it happen. And now that I get to do it, and I've been doing it now for almost 20 years, I always want people to feel what I feel every day. Like, granted, there are some days that I'm like, fuck this job, girl. I just want to sleep. I'm tired.
Mhm.
But 95% of the time, I'm excited and I'm like, ooh, I get to create today. What can we create? How can we connect? So for people to, and I remember my mom, and I remember really like this taking to my soul that I have to find something that feeds my soul, because I remember my mom going into work when she used to work for this blinds company, and she hated her job. Like, I mean, and if you feel this, my heart goes out to you, because for her to every day, it was like a part of her soul died every day.
Yeah.
And like, it got to a point to where she lost herself and she threw a stapler at her boss. And like, my mom is a pretty wilded out person, but she's not like crazy.
Mhm.
But for her to lose her mind and just get so insane that she threw a stapler at someone, that just was not the place for her. And so I was like, I never want to be in a job that makes me feel like I'm losing a part of my soul every day.
Right.
And so that's why I feel like for me, I'm like, all right, how can we make this work for you to go? And I've done this with Abe, where there were some transition times where he was like, I want to be a contractor, but I don't know. And I'm like, well, let's go. Let's figure it out. Like, let's, what do we need to do? What training? And I'm always like, what dream do you want to do? Because I want everyone to feel what I feel when I walk into work every day.
Right. Your soul's intact.
Yes. Yes. And I'm not throwing staplers at anybody.
Correct.
Me working at Best Buy, that's how I felt.
Mm.
Just being in the parking lot,
Oof.
I know what that's like.
Yes. Oh, so bad. All right, here's the last one for today. They have thousands of dollars in credit card debt, but don't see it as a big deal. Are you all in or are you out?
I was in this situation.
Oh,
Um,
were you all in or were you out?
well, I don't want to I don't want to throw anybody under the bus.
You have to
or
say who it
anything.
was.
Say it.
I thought I was gonna maybe be all out, but then something happened and I was like, okay, well, we're all in. I just don't want to get into more details on that. So I thought I was gonna be all out. And you know, I think that is a deal breaker. I think that is a deal breaker. So
So if
I think
someone
that's a
came to
legit
you
one.
now that you have the hindsight of that situation,
Yeah.
would you tell younger you or that person
Yeah.
that needs to be a deal breaker?
Yeah, that's a deal breaker, unfortunately, because that's just wildly different values and life is going to be very difficult. But you know, if you decide to go all in, then, you know, just know that you're going to be, you know, picking up all the slack and doing all the things. Like you're just going to do it all. But that's how that works.
I think it depends. Like, of course, from an outside surface level of it, all out. Why would I want to be with somebody with so much debt and them not care financially about goals or anything like that? But I am a huge, like, I love to save. If there's enough money to save, I love to save. So if you allow me to be in control of your finances, not in a way to tell you what not to do, I'm very much a person that once the paycheck hits, I put the money that I need to away, and then I can enjoy the rest of it. Instead of waiting till the end of the month and being like, fuck, I should have not spent that much. No, I know what money exactly that I can spend and what I can play around with. because I already took care of it immediately. That's how I operate. It's been really successful for me. So if you allow me to do that with you, where we can get you to a place where you can enjoy your money and we could also hit the debt little by little, I've been through it before. I've gotten myself out of debt, granted from a privileged place because I was living at home and not paying rent, but I still was able to, I still could have been partying in Miami, having a good ass time and piling up more debt, but I still knew what I needed to do. So if you allow me to kind of take control, give you a path and do what I say, I'm all in. If you truly are continuing to rack up debt and you're not doing anything about it, I'm out.
I'm out.
Ooh.
I'm out because I know that I have had to overcome a lot, and I still sometimes get the little itch of like, ooh, let's be irresponsible. This is gonna be fun.
Get some cream for that shit, girl.
Right?
You always
Literally.
itchy.
I'm always.
You get itchy in a couple different levels of stuff.
100%. But that's why I could not be with the person who isn't even trying. Because, like, if you're the devil on my shoulder,
Who's got the steering wheel?
right? Like, I
Not
don't
Jesus.
need nobody
No.
else to try to bring me down because I'm already going to bring myself down. And so that's why I immediately would run for the hills. And it's not even me judging you. This is me trying to not be on the ship, the sinking ship with you. Because I'm going to
it
be
is a sinking ship.
100%.
It is. If you don't care, especially they don't
Right.
care.
Right.
Well, what are you doing then? Like, what you're going to crash?
Like,
So-
can I tell you how hard it was for me to not get these Beyonce tickets? Like, do we have the money? Yes. Would it be smart to do it? Absolutely not. And so that's why all weekend we were talking about it. And we were like, should we not? And then we both were like, literally, absolutely not. Like, to be 100% honest, like, we're going into the last year of our contract, like, what does that look like? The radio
What
world
does it
is
look
shrinking.
like?
And I'm
Good
like,
Lord.
the last thing I want is if, for God forbid, something happens and we lose our jobs next year. And I'm like, well, at least we saw Beyonce. Like, no.
No, at least we still have money to pay. Like,
I'm like, we got a European trip for my birthday. That is enough.
yeah.
That is it. And so for me to make that decision, I felt like that was a big thing for me to sacrifice fun over being responsible. Because Miguel from 10 years ago would have been like, Kelvin, we coming with you to Atlanta. Yes.
Miguel from 2 years ago.
Ah!
Girl, stop
I mean,
playing. Like you weren't front row at Beyonce.
Yes. But that was the only big thing that year.
But what about Taylor Swift?
Okay, that was a deal.
Oh, it was
That was a deal.
Let's review this motherfucker's finances. Let me see. Pull it up.
Listen, I paid $120 or $30 for that Taylor Swift ticket.
That is
Really?
wild.
Yeah, so our friend, she bought a group for those Taylor Swift tickets, and then somebody moved or they couldn't make it, and so they asked me to go. But they were like, well, since you have to like fly and then get somewhere, just pay us $120 or something like that. And I was like,
Oh, that is
That's a
pretty good-
great fucking deal.
right. So that's why, like,
Well, but you
yes,
had to fly.
girl, I flew Allegiant
Yeah, that's I
for
remember.
$95.
Yeah.
I stayed, I think we stayed in our house at that point.
Okay.
So I did that one on a budget.
Yes.
Mhm.
Taylor
still
on the
ate.
budget.
You still ate.
Not at the stadium though. So,
Oof.
so I still saved some money there. But it will always be a struggle for me to choose to save over fun because that's just not my foundation.
Right.
That's not my
Yeah,
foundation. And so I
no.
have to fight it all the
Yeah.
time. It is a fight. All right. I like this game. Do y'all like it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. We'll save some for like days where we're like, I ain't got nothing to talk about.
Pull out the questions.
All right. We will be back on Friday. We'll be back on Friday.
No.
No.
No, we won't.
Next Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Next
Sorry,
Wednesday.
1 week.
Nah, it's my fault. I got a thing.
It's all right. It's
Burner
all
at the stake.
We've said that several times this week.
I know.
What
Well, because every time I look at Holly, I think of a witch.
Oh, well, I am, but not one of those evil ones.
right?
Lord,
I just feel like you would, like, if you were back there in those days,
they would have done
They
burned me
would've burnt
already.
you
Yeah.
already.
That's too hot. Like
Mhm.
shit, that's such a bad way to go.
Ooh.
Yes.
Fuck, it's too fucking hot.
Mm-mm.
Ugh. Or they throw you in the creek, and then they're like, "Well, if you drown, you weren't a witch, and if you don't drown, you're a witch, so we're gonna kill you anyway." And then
Horrible.
drowning, terrible.
All of it.
You just
Ugh.
punch me in the face and like knock me out that way. I don't know.
Oh, please don't. But yes, we'll be back next Wednesday, but we will have a new show on Friday for Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So make sure to tune in then on Hits 96.1 on the free iHeartRadio app, and make sure to put Hits 96.1 as your first preset. Thank you. Kelvin.